Hello and welcome to your design class that is going to be focusing on clip art. This class is going to be pretty involved, and I'm probably going to make two videos, one on all of these things right here, basically what you want to think about when you're creating clip arts, your themes, how to put images together, and how to think about the images that you're using, how you can use those again for new clip art sets without having to change around too many things. It's going to save you a lot of time, and if you plan it out in the beginning and think of your graphics as templates, you're going to really set yourself up for the opportunity to have a lot of clip art sets with not a whole lot of work after you get the basic templates created. In the second part of this class, probably in another video, I'll go through how to save your images in both Corel and in Photoshop Elements, and how to zip that folder, what you're going to want in that folder, and how you're going to want to present your clip art set on a preview image to list that on a website for sale. And I'll probably go over a watermark and things like that too. So there's lots and lots to cover. The most important thing to think about when you're starting clip art sets is your themes. The theme is going to be what gets you your sales, obviously along with what your clip art looks like, but the theme is probably the most important thing to really focus on. You want to pick themes that are in high demand, and you want to create themes that are good for the time of year, holidays that are coming up. I'm going to be referencing mygraphico.com. I'm a designer on mygraphico.com, and they're one of the leading clip art and digital papers and scrapbook image sites on the web, and they're really great. They have a lot of really great designers on here, and it's a good place to go to get some ideas, and not copy, of course, because we never ever do that, but just for a little inspiration, and maybe one day you'll even aspire to apply to become a designer on here. Who knows? Anyway, for themes, like I was saying, right now it's November. You're going to want to try to stay ahead of the game, because the people who purchase your clip art sets are going to need to use those to make, whether it's stationery or invitations and stuff like that, they're going to make a product from your product. So you want to offer your designs earlier than, say, the month of whatever holiday's coming up, or the season. Right now it's November. Notice on here there's lots of Christmas ones, because people who are making Christmas cards and stuff are going to want to be starting those sooner rather than later. There's obviously you've got your turkeys and stuff like that, cute little snowmen. So if it's getting into springtime, that's maybe when you're going to want to start making your summer sets. So anyway, one of the biggest consumers or clientele or customer base for clip art designs are people who make stationery, specifically people who design stationery for children themes, birthday cards, stuff like that. So that's probably a really good place to start. And a lot of these designs include a little clip art character. So we're going to go in and start a little clip art character and try to figure out what your personal style is going to be. For clip arts, detail is not necessarily what you're going for. You're going for clean shapes, soft colors, soft features if you're doing characters like animals or kids, small eyes, things like that. You wanted to think small, think soft, think simple. It's different from character design like this for a header image on a website. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's lots of detail, lots of shapes. This is really not what you're going to be aiming for as far as clip arts. Clip arts is something you're going to want to do a lot of and be able to produce them quickly and to be able to edit them easily and print them nicely. Not a whole lot of gradients, things like that. So uniform fills, not a lot of gradients, if any, and no dark outlines. We're just going to keep this really simple and cute. For features, there's a lot of different styles out there for characters. There are, let me see, let me click out some of these. There are some people who do like this. This is the designer right here. She has eyes, a mouth, no nose. My character is on here. Let's see. Let's skip over to my characters. This is my country kitchen set. I tend to do big hair and smaller bodies, not a whole lot of shapes as far as the hands go. I do the cheeks, the mouth, and the eyes. I don't do a nose either. There are, what's another popular one on here? Zenware Designs has some really cute ones. And she has a lot of themes. Her little, this set's adorable. Fairy Tale Princess. While I'm thinking of the princess thing, see how cute she's got the tiny eyes, a little gradient on the cheeks, small mouth, not a whole lot of different fill effects going on in the hair. It's just really simple. There's just little highlights and that's it. No dark outlines. While I'm thinking about the princess, it's really important when you're doing clip art sets that you don't step on any copyrights. You'll get in big trouble if you do that. If you want to do a theme that is a known theme like Disney princesses, you really can't make your princesses look like the Disney princesses that Disney has made. It needs to be, from what I understand, at least 30% different than the characters that you see from Disney. This is a good example right here by Zenware. She kind of took the idea of the Disney princesses, but they don't look like the Disney princesses by Disney. So you need to make sure that you change up those characters a lot to not get in trouble with copyrights. I personally stay completely away from things with copyrights because I just don't want to risk anything like that. But anyway, it's just something that's really important to think about when you're deciding on what themes to do. So, moving on back to making our little character. When you start your character, think about the position that you're going to make your little kid or animal standing in, because you want to use this as a template for additional characters that you make. Let me give you another example before we dive into this, just so you can really really think about how to set yourself up correctly right from the beginning, so you can get a lot out of the early designs that you make. My characters for clip arts are usually right in the same positions as far as their bodies and their face shapes and their arms. The arms change here and there, but I've usually always have their feet the same, and I change the hair around. Their face is always the same. They're usually always facing front. I'll show you this set along with another one so you can see the edits that I made. Here's one for breast cancer, for example. Okay. And you can see that the face shape is the same. All of these are little templates that I have already pre-made. I just add clothing or change their clothing around, change their hair around. But these are all pretty much the same image, just duplicated and edited. So think about how you want your character to look. I'm going to start making a picture that's a little different than what I usually do as far as my style goes, just so you can see the different kind of things that you can do to make your own style. Okay. What I'm going to want to do first is set a skin color. And clip art is really cool because it does not have to be realistic. You can have different skin colors if you want. You can have purple skin or whatever. There's really no rules with what you do with your style. A little bit more pinky. That looks about right. And I'm setting my outline to 0 or none. Okay. I'm gonna get my freehand tool because that's your best friend. Use that the most out of everything. Try to get used to using this because it's really gonna be what you use for the majority of the time. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit just so I can start this out a little closer up. Okay, I'm gonna start it facing on. This is the head. Okay. And there are lots of little nodes that you're going to want to go into and delete to make your shape smooth. You don't want your shapes all jagged because that's not really appealing. I'm going to add a node here, stretch that out, play around with this for a little while until I get a shape that's kind of cute. Oops. Okay, it's gonna have a cute little shape face. I'll do another one just so you can see another example. Do a face that actually has maybe some cheeks. I'm moving fast with drawing this, but the more you practice with your tools, especially the freehand tool, it's going to be second nature to you. So it might look a little bit fast right now, but once you get used to everything, it'll be just as fast, if not faster than me. Try to keep your proportions the same on each side. Doesn't have to be super perfect, but if it looks off, play around with it, because you do want your images to look as nice as possible, even if it is just a clip art image. See, if I do one at the top and get rid of all these, I can see that this is out more on the side because of the angles of the arrows, so that's helpful. If you click on the top, these arrows will appear, and you can move those around. Move this in. Okay, that's good. Okay, so there's two different kind of face shapes. I actually think I like this one better. I think that's cuter, so I'm going to take this, delete it, move this over, make it bigger, and that's what we use for this demonstration. Okay, once I have a face shape, I'm going to go in, and the only thing that I really am okay with using gradients for would be the cheeks. You don't want to use too many gradients because sometimes different printers look funny, don't print it out as well. Like I said, cleaner, more simple colors work the best, but I think it's fine to use a gradient, a small gradient on the cheek. You can use your preset colors in here. I'm going to do pink, and I use a radial fill, and I do an edge pad of 20 to make sure that no pink is gonna off color the outside. And then you can make it a little oblong if you want. I just did the select tool, and you can duplicate that. Okay. I didn't set my duplicate for 0 pixels, so it just duplicated it up there, but I'm gonna change that so that doesn't mess me up. So I like my duplicated images to be right on top of each other. Okay. And then I'm going to use a circle eclipse tool. Select a, you can use black if you want for the eyes. I like to stay away from black usually. I just think it's a little bit of a harsh color for clip art designs. Go with a dark gray or a dark brown instead. That's just my personal preference. I'm going to do a dark gray, just so it's not so bold. And do little eyes. You can do them round, or you can do them a little oval shape. I kind of want them in the middle of the face, so I'm just going to move that over and zoom in. And if you want to add a little shimmer to that to make it sparkle a little bit, like a light is hitting the eye, you can either take your eclipse tool and make a little white circle appear, or you can duplicate that circle and then just change the color of it. I duplicate a lot. That's how I like to do it. And you can make that smaller. You can put that in the middle of the eye. You can make little eyelashes, whatever you want. And then once I get the eye done, if I want to, let's add an eyebrow just to, I'm going to do a simple eyebrow. I'm going to take the rectangle tool and make a little rectangle, rounded edge, make that rounded, and I like a 10, or yeah, a 1, and change that color to a little bit darker than the skin color. Rotate it a bit. There. So think how, when you're making your shapes, think what is the easiest way to get my image created with the simplest shapes possible. And the easier you make it on yourself, that way the cleaner your images are going to look and the less time it's going to take for you to make them. So what I want to do now is I'm going to group this together, because instead of going in and making another black circle and another white circle and another eyebrow, I'm just going to take all these shapes that I just made over with this my selection tool over in your layers panel, and select all 3 of these together and group them together so they're kind of stuck together. And to do that, you can hold down your shift key and click, if all of them are in the same section and there's no other ones in between that you don't want to be included, you hold down your shift key and you click the top one that you want to be in that group and then the bottom one that you want to be in that group, and then it selects all of them in between too. Just hold down your shift key and click those, and then once all these are blue and highlighted, you can either go over here to where all this is selected, right click, go to group, and then it puts it in a group, or you can come over here where it's all highlighted, right click, and select group. Either way works. If you have a layer in between something, like say these are out of order, the easiest thing would be like to put them in order so all of your shapes that you want together are together. Or you could just use your control key, hold down the control instead of shift, and click every shape that you want to be included in that group, and then group them that way. So either way works. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see, whoops, a little bit more so I can see the whole face. I'll zoom in, it's a little bit too much. Okay, I'm going to select that group, Control D for control duplicate, and there's another group made of those same shapes, so another eye was just made. And over here, since the top one is selected, I want to flip this over and then move it over here. So it's the same eye, but just in the opposite direction, mirrored. So I'm going to select the mirror horizontally tool and then use my arrows to bring it over, or you can click it and drag it over. Doesn't matter. Whatever you decide. And then for this, you can keep the little eye whites in the opposite directions, or I prefer to have my light source coming from one direction. Usually I always pretend that my light source is in the upper right hand corner. So this side is where all of my highlights are going to be hitting. So I will go into this eye right click it, ungroup, click the little white and move it over. So the light is hitting both of these eyes from the same direction. And then I can go and regroup that if I just want to keep everything organized. Okay. This is bothering me a little bit. Just need to round this out a tad. Okay. I think I'm going to add a... let me bring these down slightly. You can group together more than one group, like this. If you want to group together both of those eyes, so you can move them around together like that. Do that. Sorry, I just need to get this cheek kind of. There we go. All right. Now I'll put a little nose in, and how I think I'm going to do the nose is just a little circle. This kind of looks like it could be a teddy bear face, but right now we're doing a human. So I'm going to change it to the skin color, and then a little bit lighter. In my models, I just go over here and click a little bit lighter. And then convert to curves. You can do this a bunch of different ways. There's really no wrong way. It's just depends on what you want your character to look like. I want it a little bit lighter. Or maybe even darker. I think I'm going to go lighter. Sorry, I'm just kind of making this up as I go. So, let's do that. Okay, and we can do a smile the same way. You can use your eclipse tool. Change it to whatever color you want. Make it the same as the eyebrow color, or pink if you're doing a little girl, and convert to curves, double click it, drag down your center, bring these out a little, make it tiny. Turn it if you want. Oops. Okay. A lot of this is about just playing around until you get something that looks cute. Okay. Okay, that's good for now. I might go in and tweak this a little bit after to make it different, but you get the idea of how to put your face together. Simple cheeks, mouth, nose if you want, eyes if you want. Mouth's not even necessary. However you want to do it. You can go in and make little cute ears if you so choose. Bring this over here. Out. And a really easy way to do an ear is just, if you have your shape there, duplicate that shape. Make the one you just duplicated a little darker. And then make it smaller. Then hide, bring that corner behind the face shape. Oops. Rearrange those. So there's the, oops, there's the middle of the ear. And then you can group that together, duplicate it, flip it, and pull it over. Something about that nose I'm not sure of, but anyway. Okay, so there's a little face. And let's go in and make a highlight on the skin. This is something that's really easy to do and will really add a lot of depth to your image. So we're going to do a little light highlight right here, like the light is hitting the side of the face. I'm going to select the face shape, Control D for duplicate, change the color to the highlight color that I want it to be, which is just going to be a little bit lighter, just a little bit. Click OK, and I'm going to drag that highlight color layer behind the face shape, the original face shape, so you won't see it for a minute, but it's still selected. Okay, now you can see your nodes. That's the highlighted layer. You can come over here, change that. Now I'm selecting the original skin color layer right now, the nodes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click a node and use my arrows and just move it in a little bit. Or you can use the arrows with your mouse and move it in a little bit, however you want to do it, until you get enough of the layer below showing through to give you the look that you want for the light, for the highlight. And then there's your little highlight on the side of the face. You're going to do this a lot probably if this is a technique that you want to take on. If you don't like this technique, you can use an outline instead. Just add an outline now so you can see what that would look like. Just do a thin outline. You don't want it too thick. I just added a 1.1 pixel outline around the face that was the same darker shade that was in the ear. Try to stick to the same 2 or 3 colors that you have in your skin tone. See, here's my dark shadow color, here's my normal skin shape right here, and then here's my highlight skin shape. Try to stick to the same 3 throughout your character. I think I want to make this dark. I think that's what's bugging me right now. For features that you want to pop out a little more, go a little darker. Okay. So yeah, you can just do the light highlights. You can do this, and instead of having it light, you can make that the dark color, and this can be a shadow on the face. Just play around with it, and you can use this and the outline if you like both of them together. Sometimes I do that with just the head, and then I won't use an outline on the rest of the body. I just kind of like the head to show up. This is a good thing, the outline is a good thing to use if your character is really light, like if you're doing a snowman. You want to keep in mind that a lot of people who order clip arts design over a white background, so you want to make sure that your clip art image will show and will have a distinct edge if that person puts it on a white background. So there's lots to think about, but you're more than anything you're trying to make it so it's user friendly and it's going to work for a lot of people and what they need your image for. So for now I'm going to keep the outline and the white highlight, or the light highlight there, and move on. Let's see, let me go add a okay, add an outline to these ears too. Here's another trick. If you have two shapes that are the same color that you want to add an outline to, for instance, I'm going to want to add an outline to both of my ears, you can select both of those shapes at the same time and add an outline to them at the same time, and that will save you a lot of time also. So if you go over to your layers panel, you click one layer, that is the outside of this ear, and then hold down your control key, select the other layer, that's the other shape that you want to edit the same way, and then over here I'm going to add a 1 point outline in this color. Click enter, and that just added the outline to both sides at the same time, so I didn't have to do it separately. These shortcuts, practice, 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 because they're going to cut your work time in half, if not more. So really, really important. Work on things that is going to improve the time you're putting into it, because that means you're making more money for the time you're working, and that's pretty much the point of this if you're doing it as a profession. Okay. Let's see. I have like a huge head right now, but I'm kind of embracing that as the style as we're going, so let's just work around this huge head and make it really cute. This would be adorable as a baby face now that I'm looking at it. If you made a pacifier here and took out the nose and just had the eyes with this big old head, that would be adorable. But right now we're just trying to think of a generic child, so or a universal child, I should say. Let's see. For hair, I am in a hair exaggerator when it comes to making graphics. I make my hair probably the most pronounced feature out of everything that I do, whether it's the clip art or whether it's blog design. I really, really focus on the hair. That's just something that I enjoy. It's my personal style. So come in here and let's make this guy have really, or girl, have really cute kind of twirly hair. And let's make it like a light brown maybe. Like I said, the softer the better. The other thing that you can do is before you even start a clip art set, which is something that I do once in a while, I will pick out a color palette and I'll put it on my canvas over here in Corel and then choose colors from that color palette. Let me show you how to do that. And one of my favorite go-to sites if I'm looking for soft color palettes is designseeds.com. And there are some really pretty color palettes on here that you can choose to work from. Go to palette search, and when I'm looking for a palette for a clip art set, I think about what the colors are that I want for hair colors and clothing and the accessories. Usually that's what I stick with. Let's see. Lots of pretty ones. Up here there are different themes. You can pick from these themes, and then it will bring you up different palettes from the kind of themes that you like. If you're making graphics like cupcakes and stuff like that, there's some really nice ones under edible. All kinds of them. I'm just trying to find one that I think I want for going for something soft. Ooh. I think I'm going to make this into a Christmas angel. So I'm going to pick something that's light, like winter, to the winter palettes. Sorry, it's taking me a minute to decide. Super indecisive when it comes to colors. Just add some here. Okay, this is pretty. Alright, so once I see one that I like, I will right click it, copy image, and I will paste it and make it small and have it up on the corner of where my palette is, just so I can use those colors if I so choose. So I'm going to go in and make some hair. I think I'm going to go with pink hair, just to be a little different. And I'm going to be going in and making a lot of little pink shapes. So I'm going to preset my freehand tool to this pink that I want to use. Just go grab your eyedropper. Select that pink, no outline, zoom me in a little bit, and make a cute little Oops. Start that again. Okay, for some reason I've got like a teddy bear in my head about this looking like a teddy bear, and I've got to make this not seem like it's a teddy bear to me. If I could be able to get past this teddy bear thing. Okay. Alright. Let's duplicate this layer and make it bigger. Move that to the back. Try to use your the same shapes that you make more than once, because it's going to save you a ton of time. And even if it's, you know, for filling in areas, actually, let's add a highlight and a low light to this before we start duplicating, because then you won't have to add those to the other ones separately. Okay, so let's duplicate that, make one for the highlight, and it's going to be lighter. And move that behind the original. Then duplicate one again if you want to add a layer for a low light, and make it a color that's a little darker. Alright, so now up here you can see the layers. This layer is your top one, that's the original color. Then you have a dark layer for the low light and a light layer for the highlight. I'm going to put the low light in first, or shadow, whatever you want to call it, by selecting the top layer. Since my light source is up here, I want the shadow to be on this side. So I'm going to select one of my nodes on this side and move it away and expose some of the dark layer for the shadow that's underneath it. Okay. Okay. I can hear my son waking up, so I'm going to go check on him for a minute. I'll be right. Okay. And to expose the low light, you want to click your top layer and one of the nodes on the side that the light would be shining on. Move it in, and notice that the dark layer is the one that's going to be showing, because that's the next in line. So you want to select that one too, and then move that node in too, so the light color is going to come through. And if you see just a little bit of light of a layer that you don't want showing, like right here, if you zoom in real closely, you can see just a teeny bit of that light purple that's there. You can select that light purple layer by clicking on it here, or clicking your layers, double click it and move those nodes in a bit, and then that will go right away so you can't see it. Go in, even out the little parts that you want to even out. Play around with it until it's right. See how this is like, I would like this to be really smooth, but it's kind of like, it's got a little sharp edge right there. I need to smooth that out. Well, that's a little better. Okay, so that shape is done. Now, I'm going to select these three, group them, and I can duplicate them and move them around and use them more than once, just to kind of fill up my space a little bit. Some hair. Yeah. Duplicate it and flip it and reshape it if I want. Use that on this side. See the little light showing in there again, so I want to ungroup this. Select the light layer, double click it, double click it so your nodes show up, and just move these nodes away so that disappears. Okay, I mean, obviously this has to be played around with a lot, and I might make some extra shapes and different kind of hair shapes and put them in there. But let me move on and show you how to make a shadow underneath the hair if you want to have a little bit of shadow on the face behind the hair. So you want to take your hair shape and duplicate it, and down here, it doesn't matter if they're all together or if you just use one of the layers, doesn't matter. If you go down here to the fill color, it says there's no fill color. That's because you have 3 layers grouped together that are different colors. This is only going to show up if your layers are all the same color. So that's saying that the layers in that are different colors, so it's not showing up a color. I'm going to make all of those layers the same color, and I'm going to make it my dark skin color for the shadow. Click enter, move that group behind the hair, and move it around like that. So then there's a shadow of the hair underneath the hair shape. That is a little actually a little dark for me. I think I'm going to go in and go in and just make it slightly darker, not so dark. That's better. Even a little dark, a little lighter. Like I said, the softer the colors are, the better. And the more subtle the shadows are, the better. Okay, that I think is good. So we'll leave it at that. And yeah, that's how you do that. So you can do that on this side and on this side, wherever you want. You can even click on it. Oops. And click on it and then add some nodes and extend this over and drag it so it's a shadow on that side too. it's all about just playing around with it until you get your own technique down. So anyway, that's that. If you have, I'm not going to finish this because that would take a long time for me to complete and for you just watching me complete it, but I think you're getting the gist of how to put these together, and how to add shadows here and there. If you want to, I'll go to my checklist. Okay, if you want to add a pattern fill, I did go over this briefly in the introduction to Corel class, but if you want to add in pattern fill that is a higher quality and a maybe a really pretty texture that you can find from a digipaper, that is a nice thing to know and can come in handy if you're making accessory images and things like that. For demonstration purposes, I'm just going to show you how to fill this shape. Not that you would put a pattern in a hair, but just so you can see how to do it. If you have a digipaper, or you can buy digital papers from My Graphico, for example. Patterns and backgrounds. Let's just do masks. Show you what a digipaper is if you're not aware of that. These are all digital papers. These are patterns that you can use to fill shapes that you're making for your Clipart sets. So just click on one. This is by Pretty Graphic, and these are all the little patterns that are included in her set. 12 by inch, 300 DPI. And these are all cute. And if you download this and save it to your image file or your picture files or wherever you want to save it on your computer, you can use these patterns and fill them right into whatever shape you want to fill them into. If you're going to buy them, you need to buy the commercial license if you're making an image that you're going to sell. If you're creating an image that you're making profit from, you always have to purchase a commercial license from whatever artist you're buying material from. In this case, would be a digital paper. Some commercial licenses they give you the option of giving the credit to the artist, and they maybe charge you a little less for the commercial license, or a non-credit license, which is you have to buy the commercial license outright and you don't have to say who the original artist was for the pattern paper. That's the one that I always buy if I use digital papers, is the commercial license, no credit required. It's a little more expensive, but I just prefer not having to list the other designer on whatever work I make. Okay, back to this. If I want to use a pattern from a digital paper to fill a shape, I would go to the fill bucket, pattern fill, and instead of using a preset pattern that is included in here, you go to load, and then you're going to find that image pattern that you purchased that you want to use. Just going to say this one, and then click import, and it's going to show you that pattern, and then you can change how small you want the pattern to look, how big you want the pattern to look. This is these are the settings that are on here just as default. We'll see what that looks like. Click OK. And then you see that cute pattern just stuck in there and took on the color of your shape. If you move the shape in and out, that pattern will expand and it won't distort. It will grow to whatever you're making your shape into. Like this. Oops. Keep missing the little the little triangle. See? Nifty. I think on the home page there was actually a couple on here that had digital fills for their Clipart sets. This one is a fill, for example. This artist made a outline shape for a fawn and then filled it with a paper, and a rabbit and filled it with paper. Same goes with these shapes with polka dots. So that's another technique that's nice to know. Going back to my checklist. Okay. When you have a completed image, we'll say that this one's all done. And you want to make another image that's similar to it. You don't have to start over from the beginning. You don't have to start with a face shape, or you don't have to make new eyes and everything. You take a graphic that you already have made, if you already have one made that's similar to what you want. Say you want to make this into a cowboy, or you want to make another, if you want to make a baby and you think you can use that face to make a baby, don't start over. Save yourself the time. All you want to do is either, if you have one saved already, let's say file. If you have one saved from a different set that you want to use and change it up to make it into a different image, you go to import. And we'll say, I'll go grab one of my little Clipart characters from my files. Import it as curves, okay, and then press your spacebar, and it will drop that on your page into a different layer, and group that together real quick before so you don't mix up your layers. You can import an image and then now edit this into a cowboy, or edit this into a princess, or whatever you want. Don't start over from scratch. So that's how you get an image onto your canvas that you've already made that you want to edit. If you have this image, and say it's a completed image, and you want to make a similar image to go along with it for your set, say this is a little girl angel and you want to make a little boy angel, you group together all of the shapes in this image, not including your color swatch, and then group it together and duplicate it and bring this somewhere else, and then you can ungroup by right clicking and selecting ungroup, and then you can change these shapes around, delete them, make them smaller, flip them over. We'll say we'll make this into a baby. Delete this hair, delete this shadow, delete this, flip this, make this tiny, like a little tuft of hair on the baby's head. Ungroup it so you can change the color of the hair to brown. delete that mouth. You can make a new shape for a mouth, like a crying shape. And pretty much in no time at all, compared to how much time was put into making the original picture, you have a completely different image that you didn't have to spend a lot of time on. That doesn't even really look like the original image that you were working with. So anyway, this is just, obviously it's a rough example, but you get the idea. Right? So that's how you use a image that you have completed and edit it to make a new image instead of starting over from the beginning. I think that is it for having to know the fundamentals of creating clip art. Don't go crazy with the effects, just keep it clean, simple, and keep each one of your images in a group so they're separated. Like, I'm gonna go and group this crying baby head. And this is in a group, and I can move this around, and that's in a group. Keep everything organized, keep everything grouped together, separate images grouped together. And that is pretty much it. The same rules and the same techniques are going to apply to whatever you're designing, whether you're making a purse or a cocktail drink or a Christmas stocking or a Christmas tree or Easter eggs or whatever you decide you're making, cookies. You're going to do the same. It's the same techniques as far as adding lights, adding darks, shadows, things like that, keeping things delicate, soft colors, your color palettes, all that stuff. It's all the same. You're just going to be applying it to different images and blah blah blah, different images and different themes. So that is it. For the next video, I'm going to go over how to save each one of your images separately and into the different formats that you need to use, and put that together into an actual kit that someone can purchase and download from the internet. That is the tedious part, but that's the part that is necessary for selling your art. So that's the next half.